These books are perfect with a side of pumpkin spice. Hi everyone, it is April from Getting Hygge with It. Today is day 2 of Hygge Halloween week. I'm so excited. So in the last video that I did, I recommended 6 new spooky, scary books that have come out in 2020, the second half of 2020, that I think sound absolutely wonderful. In this video, I'm going to recommend 6 thrillery books that are set in autumn. I'm really excited to share these with you, so let's get into it. The first book I want to recommend to you is The Chestnut Man. I recently read this and it was brutal. Okay, so this is not for the faint of heart. This is graphically violent. Like the same way that Pretty Girls from Karen Slaughter was graphically violent, where you're going, I don't want to eat anything while reading this. Like, it is pretty gross a lot of the time. First of all, this is set at Halloween. Like, the book starts out on Halloween. And the whole book is set in the fall. And this is about a serial killer who is killing mostly women in incredibly brutal ways. And he leaves behind little chestnut men, which is apparently a tradition that people do in Denmark. I can't remember where this is set, even though I just read this. What is wrong with me? In any case, he leaves these little chestnut men behind as a little clue. And on these chestnut men, there are fingerprints on them. And at each scene, you realize it's the fingerprint of a girl who had gone missing a year ago. And she is the daughter of a prominent political figure. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. Also, this is written by the man who wrote the series The Killing. And so one thing that I loved about this book is that it feels like you're watching a detective series, a crime detective series on Netflix. Also, this is going to be turned into a detective series on Netflix. But it really feels that way. Just the way that the whole thing is set up, it is so fast paced. Like, this is a bit of a chunky book. It's like 500 pages, but you fly through those 500 pages, especially at the end. Oh my goodness. I so highly recommend this. Perfect for fall. The next book that is set in fall is The Chain by Adrienne McKinty. I have not read this yet, but it sounds like a lot of fun. This is about a series of kidnappings that go on. And our main character finds that her daughter goes missing. And she's terrified. And then she receives this phone call from someone who says, if you want your daughter back, you've got to kidnap another child. And it's this chain of events where parents are kidnapping other people's kids so that they can get their kid back. It sounds kind of silly, but it also sounds like a lot of fun, and it is set in the autumn. The next book that I really loved is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. This is actually really perfect for fall, the more I think about it. It is set in fall, but we follow a woman who is stuck inside. She has a fear of going outside, and she really will only go outside if it is like dire circumstances. So the way that she spends her days is watching old black and white movies honestly, you will read this book and get to the end of it and want to go and watch all of those black and white movies. So she watches movies, she drinks a lot, and she spies on the neighbors. And one day she's spying on the neighbors and she sees something very violent happen in a home close by. And she calls the police, but the police don't really believe her because, I mean, she's drinking a lot. And so she feels like she needs to get herself involved. I really enjoyed this. This is a slow burn. I think it's about 400-ish pages. But I loved it. I loved it so much. Next is Reconstructing Amelia by Kimberly McCreight. I haven't read this one, but I recently read A Good Marriage by her and really loved her writing style. So we'll definitely be getting to this one soon. This follows Kate Barron, who is completely taken by surprise when she finds out that her daughter jumped to her death at the school that she goes to. She does not understand how this happened. She's like, that would not be something that my daughter would do. So she starts trying to find out, did my daughter actually commit suicide or was she pushed? What has happened? And she dives into her daughter's life and starts finding out stuff about her daughter's life that, you know, takes her by surprise and she didn't realize. And she kind of questions, like, how close was I to my daughter? It sounds really sad. Reconstructing Amelia. Next is Lying in Wait by Liz Nugent. She's a wonderful writer who writes incredibly disturbed and screwed up characters, like the same quality of screwed up characters as Gillian Flynn, I would say. This follows a couple who end up killing a woman named Annie Doyle. They kill her. They dispose of her body in their back garden. And they think they're gonna get away with it. However, Annie, the victim, has a sister named Karen who is desperate to find out what happened to Annie. And so it's this build up to find out, you know, is she going to find out what happened? Are they going to be exposed? And this couple, oh my goodness, they are very unlikable characters, especially Lydia. Oh my gosh, she was terrible. And they have a son. Oh my goodness. So good. And last but not least is Little Face by Sophie Hannah. I haven't read this one yet, but it sounds like a lot of fun. This follows Alice, who has just recently given birth to a daughter. And she goes out one day, I think it's like her first time leaving the house without the baby. And when she comes home, she looks at the child and goes, my child has been swapped for another. Where is my daughter? Now, her husband doesn't believe her. Nobody will believe her. But then 1 week later, she and this baby go missing. And it's set at in October. Hooray! So those are all of the books that I would recommend to you. Thrillers set in autumn. Some of them I read and loved. Some of them I haven't read yet, but should right about now. The last video of Hygge Halloween will be about my 6 favorite horror books. I will see you next time. Bye, guys.